All right, y'all. I am a Kuat ambassador now, and they have sent me their Piston Pro. This is a bike rack for any cars with a bike hitch. I have the 2-inch version, so I have the 2-inch Piston Pro bike rack here. And I also have this pivot. What this will allow me to do is still get to my tailgate on my truck while I'm using a hitch-mounted rack. Super stoked for this combo, and so I'm gonna unbox them. I got a bike trip this week. I'm driving out to California. Should be about a 2,000 mile road trip, so I'm super stoked. Let's start opening these boxes. Top just slides off. Yep, definitely assembly. So here's one tray, kind of comes apart. Lots of grooves in here for different size tires. If you're going like ultra skinny, gravel, mountain bike, maybe even fat bike too. Okay, now we got labels on this guy, A, B, C, D, and I assume that corresponds with which tray to put on the main base. Looks like I connect this with one bolt. We've got locking cable. It's only a preventative measure, but very nice to have. We got tools. We have 2 bolts. So you kind of mount them onto like this lip on the center receiver section, and it's just one bolt in through that side. Now I'm going to give it a test fit into the hitch. What, so now I just kick this, comes down. Heck yeah. As easy as that. So cool. Then you adjust your wheel size here, right? Yep. 26, 700, 29. Then you tighten in your wheels like that. Pretty sweet. I like how it's like quick. And then to flip it up, do I push that down and flip it up? It's pretty thick. I think I need to see what it's like with the pivot on it as well. Okay, so it's a few months later. I've been using the Piston Pro for about 3 months, and I absolutely love it. You can see right now I have the bike rack in just by itself, and I want to show you its function. So this is the storage mode. Tilt it up. I can tilt it down, and I can bend it down one more time to be able to access the tailgate a little better. You can see it actually still hits, and the tailgate doesn't go all the way down. So there are times where I might want to sleep in the bed of my truck, which requires me to put my tailgate down. Or if I need to carry like bigger loads in the back of my truck while also carrying 2 bikes, I want this tailgate all the way down so it's not rubbing the paint on the back. And that's where the pivot comes in. The pivot brings the bike rack, shifts it back probably, I don't know, 6, 8 inches. So I'm gonna install the pivot onto the hitch, then the bike rack onto the pivot, and demonstrate for you how the tailgate goes all the way down and how the pivot moves. So the first thing I have to do is take the lock off, which is down here, the lock. So I'll come in here. Okay, got the lock out. Throw that back here for now. So you do need a special keyed Allen This comes with the bike rack. I believe it came with 2, or maybe one with the rack, one with the pivot. But there's a pinch bolt, there we go, inside the trailer hitch. And that's what like pushes against the hitch, and that's what locks the bike rack in. And then the like keyed lock locks the bike rack into the hitch so that people can't take it out, even if they had one of these wrenches. So I believe it's out enough. Yep. So I'll take this out. We'll set this down over here. All right, let's get the pivot out too, because this is another reason why I'm excited for the truck. And I'm gonna give you more thinking about the truck, right? Like, the idea of getting the bikes out of the bed is so that you can use the bed for road trips and travel and stuff, right? So having the bikes on the back will help that. All right, here's the pivot. It's got the lock in it. For the pivot, you can get there's 2 options. You can get it where it pivots to the driver's side, or you can get it where it pivots to the passenger side. I got it pivoting to the driver's side because I figure if I'm camping, I'll be parallel parked. And so I want the bikes to swing out to create a little, like, I don't know, area of intent from the back of my truck to the campsite, and sort of guard that off with the bikes. So that's my intent for doing that. So that's why I installed the pivot. Let's put it in. And I'll line it up with where the lock can go, which is right there. Same tool. Just get it nice and tight in there. Awesome. Now let's put the bike rack in. Again, line up. And let's tighten this down into the pivot. All right, so that's in there. Now, let's take a look at the tailgate. With the rack in storage mode, the tailgate completely opens and does not touch anything, which is fantastic. If I put the bike rack down, even more room. I can even slide in between here. So with the pivot on, this is one benefit, is it extends the bike rack back, which means you put down your tailgate, access what's inside of your truck, lay in your truck, things like that. Now, let's take a look at the actual pivot. So over here, there's a safety latch, which you have to open and click the rack open. And there's 3 positions. So here's position 1, it's at a 90-degree angle. Position 2, just 75. And position 3, all the way out. So when the rack is open like this, your bikes are completely swung out. And again, you can access your tailgate. I like to leave it at that 90-degree angle. And again, this is what sort of creates that area, right? Sort of creates a boundary behind your truck when you're at a campsite or camping. Sort of keeps you, I don't want to say protected, but like keeps you in your own little area. Let's throw some bikes on. So it's locked there. You can see there's a little movement, and that's where the safety latch comes in. Okay, so I'm gonna throw some bikes on the rack. So I'm gonna load the back rack first. I'm gonna put an e-bike on the back that has 27.5 wheels. So pop open the wheel chocks, set these to 27.5, 27.5. I always like to load my bikes with the drivetrains facing backwards in case any dirt, debris, mud, or whatnot sprays up from your car. It doesn't get the drivetrain dirty. I'll center it and close the wheel chocks a bit. So I'll tug on the right, tug on the left. That bike is nice and in there. And when you're using two bikes with mountain bike handlebars, you'll need to mount them opposing. All right, so this is the Priority Apollo. It is a gravel bike. We will get it up there. You can see there's a little conflict actually with the handlebars. I'm not gonna do it right now just for demonstration's sake. But if I was going on a trip with these two bikes, I would lower the seat down a bit. But again, for this demonstration, not gonna do that. Cool, so locked in the back wheel and locked in the front. Now I got these two bikes on the Kuat Piston Pro with the swing arm extension. So let's swing open the bike rack. Okay, so this is the positive stop for the swing. So I'm gonna open that. This is how the rack swings open. You can swing it open with bikes on it, which is super sweet. So I'll pull it out, it'll click into one. I'm actually gonna come over here. So I'll click it again. And that is the most open that it can go. So even with two e-bikes loaded, you can use the pivot, the Piston Pro, and swing it open and keep your bikes on the rack. You don't need to worry about weight or anything like that. So again, this sort of creates like a cubby area. I'll take it to the spot I really like, which is 90. So then when you're at your campsite, you sort of have this designated area, which is my intent for the swing arm. You can cook, access stuff in your trunk, things like that. So super sweet feature of that. Let's look at the lock. So this is the cable you get to lock your bikes. I like to go through the rear triangle of both bikes and the front wheel if possible. So I'll start rear triangle, rear wheel, come around, rear triangle of this bike, front wheel. So I've got all four wheels, the frames. Then you take the lock, put it through the loop, and there's a hole right here in the rack. Make sure you have enough slack, and now your bikes are secured to your rack. When I'm traveling and when I'm on road trips, this feels pretty safe. You know, any bike lock is just a deterrent. So I always like to keep a close eye on my bikes, but knowing that I have each wheel, each frame locked and secured to the bike rack just feels really good. And like going into gas stations, using the bathroom, getting drinks, things like that, I feel good about it. And then the same key that undoes the lock for the hitch, it's right here. Take it in, open it, and the lock comes out. So that's the cable lock. All right, so that is a first look at the Kuat Piston Pro, the swing arm driver side for the Piston Pro. I've had these for 3 months. I've taken it on at least 2,300 miles of road trips with the Bulls e-bike, and I haven't run into any problems whatsoever. I really enjoy this rack. I really enjoy it with the swing arm, so I can get into my truck, so I can leave my truck bed for storage or use it for sleeping. Stick around for more on the Kuat Piston Pro. You'll be seeing it in upcoming videos where I go out on bike rides, and I will keep you updated. I'm working with Kuat for the next 1.5 years on promoting their products and testing them out, sharing my experiences on YouTube, and creating content about just using this rack in general. So stick around if you want to see a long-term review of the Kuat Piston Pro and the pivot. Make sure you're subscribed, and I will see you on the next one. I recently got this. This is the Kuat Piston Pro, and it's super sweet because to raise these, all you do is, and then you're ready to load your bike. I will load it up here, and I'll pull the back one up to the wheel. I'll push the bike back on that,